Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert. 31st day, last day of March here, 2024. Got Carlos Madden, New Yorker Chavez coming in here somewhere, sometime or another. Maybe he went to the Mets game. I don't know. Either way, going to talk about this Austin Reeves. I want to ask him what's he think about Austin Reeves. Is he going to be like a James Harden type and turn into a star, or is he going to be like a Jeremy Lin type of guy? He's getting a lot of buzz. Actually, Chris Maddox said with Sports Illustrated, he thinks that the Lakers can go to the NBA Finals. Also, the Jets are now the longest playoff drought team, 12 years. They have the longest in all of major sports. We'll see if does he think they can get back here. I'll break that down either way. We'll go ahead and get our first and only break out of the way, and we'll hit the ground running here on Sports Scope. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to Sports, that is Sports with an S, another S, Scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program. All righty then, I'm back here live on all links here, and Carlos hasn't made it up yet. So anyways, so the Sacramento Kings, oh, there he is. Hey, man, how's it going?
Yo, what's up,
Good to see you, good to see you. Okay.
Happy Friday.
I was just about to make this big announcement here. Not really announcement.
Well, you getting married? Yeah.
Right. Now I've won the Powerball and taken Sports Scope to a new level. No, kidding.
I was gonna say, yo, dang, son, give me some.
No,
Friday,
so
everybody.
the Sacramento Kings, kudos to the Kings. They have snapped a playoff appearance. I want to say, was it 15, 16 years? I want to say since 2006 or maybe even longer.
Since we've been in college, son.
Since we've been back in college, yeah. We were talking. I'll talk about those teams all the time. I think that they would have fared better in today's market, in today's NBA, with the 3-point shooting and that 2002, 2003 Peja Stojakovic led team with Mike Bibby and everybody, Chris Webber. So, and of course, the media, I don't know if they're trolling. They're just reporting what's going on, okay? That the New York Jets are the only team that's got they're the team with the longest playoff drought and all of the four major sports in America: hockey, NBA, MLB, 12 years. Now,
12, I don't know if that's right. 12 years?
Well, yeah. Well, maybe a little bit longer. I have to go back and check.
Then they went to the playoffs with Mark Sanchez and they lost.
Yeah, and it may have been a little bit longer than 12 years. I'll have to go back and see. But it's the Jets right now that are currently, and my question to you is, do you think they're going to go to the playoffs next year? When do you think they'll be back in the playoff hunt?
Man, that's not a question to ask me. It's a question to ask their coach and their management, man. But to be honest, they have a lot of potential. They have a lot of speed. Their defense is great. Their offense is what needs to be turned over a little bit. You have to be able to score points, protect your quarterback, and run the ball. And I don't know if they'll be able to hit all three faucets, with some of the things that they've done lately. So playoffs, maybe, but further than the first round,
right?
I don't think so. I mean, because you have to also understand that, if you bring in a guy like Aaron Rodgers, for instance, he's going to win you 2 or 3 more games just to get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be up to him to get you through the playoffs, right? That means that he's got you there. So what are you going to put in return? And that right now, Salah's working on, because he knows that defense wins the games, right?
Yeah.
But again, this is a new type of football. So you might have a great defense, but if you don't score points, or like I mention all the time, if your defense doesn't score points, like your defense can't just get you, close to the goal line. Like if a defense doesn't score 1 or 2 points, you're not going to get far, right? So you got to make sure that, and they have a nice young cornerback that can probably get you a couple interceptions and maybe get you a 6 points here and there, once in a while. I think he can. He has the opportunity to do that. But he can't just be the only one. He can't be our saving grace.
Right.
Like you need a defensive back. You need a linebacker or defensive end, or somebody to put pressure, cause some fumbles, and get some points that way too. You can't just be like, oh, our D-back's gonna keep the other team from going above us, and getting our wide receivers. But he's just one player, man.
Yeah.
So if you're
I think they can go to the play. I mean, first of all, I think they're going to end up getting Rodgers. You look at you look at the owner here. He's saying, yeah, we are anxious to get going. We're a little anxious, but I'm patient. This is what he says. Woody Johnson. This was at the owners' meeting. He says, I think we're anxious, but I don't think anybody's hyperventilating. It's kind of like talking out of both sides of his mouth. But the news came out this week that they do not want, the Jets are okay with the Packers are okay with not taking that 13th overall pick to get this thing done. Obviously, we're sitting here on the 31st. It hasn't get done yet. But something, the truth of the matter is, like you said, this team is they're a lot closer than, after everything settles down, you start getting ticked off about losing the game. This team was 7-10 last year, and they could have very well been 10-7, maybe 11-6. I mean, you probably remember some of these games if I bring them up. Like
Robert, I'm not going to try to sound like I'm messed up, and high on anything, but I firmly believe that had the Giants not had that better defense this year, they would have had the same record the Jets had ended with. And what I'm going to go out, and I'm going to go and say, and I'm going to go on a limb and say that the Jets will have a better record than the Giants next season. How about that?
The Jets will have a better record than the Giants, no matter if they do get Rodgers or not.
Yeah, it don't matter. It don't matter who's running the ball, who the quarterback is.
They had 3 quarterbacks last year, man.
I'm talking about the Giants.
Yeah, I know. But I'm just looking at the Jets, and I mean, maybe that's a good point there. I mean, they lost to Detroit 20-17. I mean, that could go either way.
Yeah, and here's the thing with the Giants games: they were winning games. They won 5 games, and they wouldn't even score more than 21 points.
Yeah.
So
a lot of fluke games,
right? So if you cannot score more than 27 points, you will not be a team that will be successful in the playoffs.
Yeah,
you got to be able to score 27 to 30. Remember, I keep saying that. Remember, and people are like, "Oh yeah." I'm like, winning a game in the NFL and having a good record, it means a lot. But you know what also means a lot? You are who you are what they say you are, and like if you can't score touchdowns, you're not going to get far.
Yeah. I mean, the Jets lost like 10-3,
right,
to New England. Who would have thought in 2022 last year that you're still losing games like that? But that tells you how bad the quarterback play was.
Well, let's take
and that was to New England. Their quarterback play was terrible too. They had 2 defensive guys calling the game.
Let's take it back to last season, and for the last maybe 3 or 4 seasons has been very terrible football. Anyways, I mean. We had long games, and the Thursday games were last season. Almost every Thursday game was terrible. Even though if you looked at the TV schedule, you're like, okay, we're going to get a decent game today. And then it was like the play was just horrific. And so, as Amazon was featuring like terrible games, You know, it felt.
And now they're talking about flexing these games out and having 2 Thursday games. What's your thoughts on that?
So you gotta pick to watch the work the
Well, they'll flex out teams that are going to be good because the ratings are so bad. But hey, some people can't afford Amazon right now. You know, it's $16 a month, and that's $16 you don't have. You know.
Well, then who's going to pay for that? So and that's what you got to add on to the YouTube channel package.
Yeah,
that they're
or whatever.
For the NFL package. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I've had it, but it's okay. I guess it's just, I don't think they should flex these games like that. I mean, you could tell that the players look fatigued, man. Not a big fan of those Thursday games. I mean, they're okay, but
they was fatigued on Sunday and Saturday games too, man.
Well, Saturday, I couldn't tell the fatigue on Saturday. You know how I always judge it? By the explosiveness of the running backs. You could tell when both teams are fresh, when the running backs are popping off that line of scrimmage, but they're kind of just unless they're really young rookie guys and it's early in the season. You know,
I saw a lot of like explosiveness in the third and fourth quarters of some teams that had the better running backs and the better O-lines. Like I saw a lot of that. That they were trying to get in a rhythm, they were trying to get in the game. I saw like preseason games during the regular season for like 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And
there was some bad football last year.
It didn't matter if it was on Monday, Thursday, Sunday, or in your dreams. It was just terrible. Like, and we're all like hoping, okay, this is gonna be a great matchup. And we, all the commentators and then the media, we're all blowing it up like, all right, let's, I don't think I've had maybe 1 or 2 seasons where even my fantasy league was like horrific. And it was like you couldn't find a backup wide receiver that would get you 60 yards.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. Like, like it was bad, man. And so when people are like, oh, well, Aaron Rodgers becomes a quarterback. Okay, fine. Aaron Rodgers is a quarterback. They're going to win 2 more games, maybe 3. And maybe they have a
I would bank on them if Rodgers is their quarterback and they don't come in the middle of the season. I would bank on them getting to the playoffs, and the defense is too good this year. That's a good team right there. They just need that quarterback, and
I feel like this is gonna all just kind of blow up again, and next season we'll probably be looking at a new coach. Something has to give for the Jets to understand that no matter who you handing the ball off or who it is handing the ball off, you do have to have a coordinator who understands the game and knows what they're doing there. And they haven't had that in like 4 seasons. So, what's that record that you talked about?
7-10.
No, the playoff record. That's probably going to continue into
the longest streak. Yeah,
this probably going to continue if this owner doesn't think about putting somebody who knows about football back there and in the coaching spot as an offensive coordinator. I mean, come on, man.
Right.
Now there was a miss. Before LaFleur, there was
12 years. I was right. It's 12 years
before the incident that happened with that coach. God bless his soul. And the bike accident. He was actually a good coach. He went to the Super Bowl a few times with different teams. He had a great record.
Who was that? Who had a bike accident? I misunderstood.
The bike accident that happened for the first coach that the Jets had that was supposed to come in as a coordinator with Saleh. I can't remember his name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was the truth, right? He was he would have been the one to help this team more than what LaFleur did. But I mean, they need to find somebody like that, somebody who's been in the league. He
died in July. Okay.
Yeah, he died. He died right.
Greg Knapp.
There you go. That's his name. I couldn't remember his name. I didn't want to say the wrong name. So,
man.
Yeah, if you look at his record, if you look at his accomplishments, his resume, he's a man. Like you could see why Saleh wanted him on this as his head OC. But
they brought in the former coordinator that's worked with Rodgers.
That's the thing, man. That's like you went from LaFleur to LaFleur 2.0. Like,
who would you rather have him in if you had your choice?
I pick somebody like, you know what? I wouldn't even mind what's his name to come back, Garrett, to come back as a coordinator. I mean, as long as
Jason Garrett.
As long as you don't have to, play, put any pads on him, he'll be all right. Like, just somebody with experience.
Well, he's a mad New Yorker.
You know what I'm saying? Just somebody with experience and who's been to the big game, Somebody can walk in and look at a rookie quarterback and be like, listen, we are going to give you the ball to throw. So find the guy and throw it to him. Don't just throw it to throw it. Like, you can't say those kind of things to your QB, or just be like, listen, those DBs got you. They locked into they've been watching film on you. Just run. We're going to run the ball and you do the best you can to get the heck out of the way, because you only got 2 good guards there. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are small things that you could do, and it doesn't, it's okay to tell somebody, hey, you got to protect yourself. Like, don't just let them out there to the wolves and stuff, man.
Yeah,
you said it. The Jets had 3 quarterbacks, so that means that they had one offensive coordinator that didn't know how to handle one quarterback, 2 quarterbacks, or the 3rd quarterback.
Well, Flacco's just washed up.
Yeah,
man.
but I mean, like, at least he can hand the ball off to a running back. Like, that don't take no experience. You tell me that you can play football for like 7+ years and you can't hand the ball off?
That's true.
Even Boomer Esiason did better than this guy did, and he was almost past his prime.
If they made a trade hypothetically for Ryan Tannehill, could you see this team in the playoffs next year?
I mean, it's not that right. Again, Ryan Tannehill isn't the problem. The problem is to get Ryan Tannehill to use his skills to the best of his ability. Would he want to play quarterback for the New York Jets? Because if he don't want to be in New York, he definitely ain't gonna want to play quarterback. Ryan Tannehill is a good quarterback if he wants to be, right? You're talking about a quarterback that was able to carry the Titans without Henry and was almost an MVP candidate for within 6 football games within the last 2 seasons ago, right? And then he went into the playoffs and was looking around, saw all the weapons that he had, didn't know what to do, didn't even take it upon himself to run the ball when he needed to, and they lost, right? It wasn't people like, oh, Henry should have did this, and no, Ryan Tannehill should have been a quarterback.
Yeah. See, that's why I think they couldn't make the play. I don't know about going far in the playoffs, but I do think that they couldn't make the play. Now, that being said, everybody looks like a contender in the East. Then, if that happens,
Miami right now on paper looks like the best shot to win money, but it just takes one bad injury for that team because they're not deep enough, right? Right now, everything if they show and for show on paper looks good, but when you look on the on the back pages and who's backing up who, that's where it gets kind of risky if you're betting on the season.
Do you think Rodgers is going to get done? Do you think this deal's going to get done?
I can't. I'm not going to sit here and say that that's not going to happen or that's going to happen because at the end of the day, in New York, things happen for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And if the contract gets done fine, the money was there. He was able to. The Green Bay was able to find $64 million somehow or another. Maybe the Tooth Fairy left it underneath the pillow or whatever. But it's hard to say now because it keeps dragging on. The longer things drag on, the further away reality of
this thing happening. Yeah,
Rodgers coming to New York is so. And then you got the whole thing with Lamar, and he's throwing little daggers here and there everywhere, and even the Jets are like, well, we can maybe switch over and get him, and so when you start thinking like that, and you don't have like a surefireness.
Now they're going to have to give up the first round for Lamar. That would be the thing.
But you turn around and you gain like 5 to 6 years of youth.
Yeah.
With
oh yeah, absolutely. So, probably even though he's a lot younger with the way he runs. I don't know if he's going to make it to 30 with his.
Yeah, well, you're not going to tell Lamar. You're not going to tell him to be like, hey, go. We expecting 1,000 yards from you. No, you're going to be like, listen, we need you to just run the gamut, and if you have to run, fine, but don't run if you don't need to, right? And I think that he's never had a coach tell him that unless like since Louisville. In Louisville, he had a coach that was like, listen, this is the plan, and the holes are there for you to run. And then, but I want you to throw it, first to third down. The second, when it's a third and you got 2 yards, go ahead and run it. Like, he had a guy that was there and told him, hey, you can use your legs, but you don't have to live on your legs. In Louisville, he had like one of the highest completion and some of the highest yards in all of college football.
Bobby Petrino. I had to look it up real quick. Yeah. Petrino is a kind of a shady guy, but he is really good with quarterbacks. So that's why I think A&M they're going to bounce back next year. They're going to be a force in the SEC West in the college game. I'll tell you, I don't know what's going on with Lamar. If you're Lamar, what do you do? That's a good transition. Well,
I would definitely look for a team that has an O-line first and foremost, because you're Lamar. You can pick almost any team you want to end up on. So you pick a team that's a deep O-line that's young, and and vivacious, and then you find maybe a team that has a decent running back and at least one good wide receiver, right? So he might end up in Detroit at the end of the day, who knows?
If you're Detroit, if you just in Lamar's body and you are Lamar Jackson right now, would that be the team you would try to get yourself to? Would be Detroit?
A team like Detroit or an up-and-coming team, because the thing is with the coach in there, you're getting he's building a culture there, and he let go of a few coaches here and there because they moved on because they were doing well. So, but
yeah, Petrino's about Petrino, Pickles. That is true. But he's a good coach. Lousy person.
He got him to play out half of the quarterbacks that came out that year and got him a high draft pick. So
he did. So, and they really wasn't that talented.
No.
Remember that guy from Arkansas? He was like 6'7", but man, he was a stick man back there. The Patriots ended up picking him up. Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe Atlanta. If I'm Lamar, I'm thinking Detroit, Atlanta, pretty good offensive-minded head coaches. Got some weapons, got some young talent, got some money.
Even a team like Houston, he ain't going to win much of the first 2 years, but if he's there for the long haul, Houston, you're
going to play under DeMeco Ryans, an unproven head coach, though.
Yeah, that's you don't. I bet he'd probably be there longer than
Pickles just says, I just hire an agent. Yeah, that's what I'd do, Pickles.
He got an agent, Pickles. He got an agent.
I would try to, tell John Harbaugh, but let's let be bygones, and let's do that 3-year 133.
Well, here's a question.
And play under Todd Monken.
Let's flip it. What NFL team would like Lamar on their team? How about that?
Yeah. And see something like that. And obviously nobody's really reached out because they're thinking I am.
I'm going to tell you why. Because 90% of the freaking NFL is playing that playbook, the Shanahan system that doesn't really it doesn't work for him, man. It's not a style that he can kind of just slide into.
Yeah, it's a good question. That's a good question. If I'm an organization, the thing is, Baltimore's probably the best place for him. Maybe, possibly the Commanders with what they've got. But but I'm thinking about Rivera, and he just don't want to deal with Lamar because I think he thought that
he dealt with Cam Newton
injured.
He dealt with Cam Newton, so he don't want.
He's thinking a running quarterback. We had to deal with injuries. Plus, so that's what I'm thinking. If I'm Atlanta, I could probably make it happen. I could probably because I trust Arthur Smith to scheme up some stuff. But Lamar's got to learn how to pass people, throw people open, man. And
you got 32 teams that don't want this MVP candidate. That's something messed up.
Well, that was in year 2, though.
Because 90% of them play a book, just terrible playbook, man. It is what it is, man. You can't. You want to argue that? We can argue that all day, and I'll be like, okay, fine. Then what? John
he made a good point. He said, the offensive coordinator that was with the Ravens, he did get fired from Buffalo.
And how's Buffalo doing now? Buffalo been doing
well,
the same thing
they've
since
moved
1995, man.
Stuff, but
Buffalo been doing the same thing since 1995. They ain't gonna change, man.
Well, they haven't been doing the hurry up offense with Jim Kelly and Thurman Thomas, but quite a few coaches ago.
And look, they got rid of that running back. They got rid of Singletary as if he was a problem. And then Singletary got a decent
Greg
contract.
Roman. Okay, yeah. So Roman, I think Roman should have opened it up a little bit for him. I'm trying to think if he could have did anything to help Lamar. But they just should have opened up the passing game and said, listen, you've got to learn to throw guys open in the slant. You have to learn that, man. And if you don't know it now, you got to work on it day and night till you get that down. He's got a lot of stuff down. He's got the play fake down. He's got pocket awareness.
How many times while Lamar was playing had the Ravens had a top 5 or a top 10 wide receiver?
Yeah, and I can give you that because they've had problems finding good receiver. They've had problems drafting receivers even before he was there. So I'll give him the people that say that they don't bring in good receivers. You can give them that because those are facts.
And then
they have acquired good receivers. Anquan Bolden, Derek Mason.
Anquan Bolden was on the down.
Yeah, but they won a Super Bowl with him, And Derek Mason, he was a third down guy. I hated it when Tennessee lost Derek Mason to free agency.
Yeah, but he wasn't with Lamar.
No. They obviously they got Andrews.
I think
Hollywood Brown, he showed his talent with Kyler Murray. It's just that Jackson's very fortunate to be where he's at. That's my thing. I don't think he sees that. He was a guy. Remember, Bill Polian thought he was a receiver coming out of college. He didn't think he was going to. He wouldn't even draft him as a quarterback. And he proved a lot of people wrong, but he hasn't grown since that year too. Is my point. He hasn't developed as a passer since year 2.
Bill Polian.
He's the guy that
I know he is.
Okay.
Bill Polian is an old school GM mentality, and what I say about that is that if he sees that somebody has potential and talent, and he hears about it, and he's like, well, if they don't change, then they're not going to be a quarterback. They'll be a wide receiver, and it was like 90% of the people he chose that should be wide receivers were ex quarterbacks, anyways. Remember, he was saying stuff that Cordell Stewart should have been / he should have just been a wide receiver. He shouldn't. He's not a good quarterback. And then Cordell Stewart goes ahead and has one of the biggest.
He was okay.
There was a couple games where he busted some records for Pittsburgh, right? And I'm not gonna say he was the best quarterback for Pittsburgh. I'm not saying it, but all I'm saying is like Bill Polian is like he's not gonna be a.
I think he had one good season, man. Yeah, let's not get crazy there.
Okay, but so has this one guy, and he just signed a huge contract.
Who's that?
The guy who played for the Jets for like 3 seasons, and then the Giants. What's his name? Can't think of his name. Once he left New York, I was like, all right, good.
He played for the Jets and the Giants.
Yeah.
He's a quarterback?
Yeah, for Seattle. What's his name?
I can't remember his name, man. Wow. Pickles, who we talking about here?
I can't remember his name. He just got signed by Seattle.
Oh, Geno
Smith, yeah.
See, here's my thing. If I'm talking to Lamar, I'm saying there is still a possibility that you could still grow. This is what I tell any quarterback. I say, you're never too old to grow, but you have to realize that you need to grow. Don't be stubborn. Realize that you need to grow. Rich Gannon made it late. I mean, he transpired late in his career, 29, 30. I think that came up about Geno Smith. He was one of the oldest quarterbacks to ever make it for the first time, Pro Bowl quarterbacks, like post 30 as an alternate. The other one was Rich Gannon,
But Look, I'm gonna give you, and I don't think they're an exact good comparison, but they are running.
Gannon had a much more. Pickle says Hasselbeck. Yeah, I thought Hasselbeck was a total just wash. He ends up getting to the Super Bowl.
Listen, the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah.
Ironically, he was with the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, but he was a good example though of a guy that I didn't think Hasselbeck was nothing out of college.
Do you remember Randall Cunningham?
Yeah.
What happened when he left the Eagles?
Oh, I don't know.
Remember?
He went to Minnesota.
Exactly. He went to Minnesota, and then he had a couple good, decent seasons with Minnesota.
The right system for you, and that's the thing that people don't see.
And which is why 32 teams, most of them don't want Jackson's because they run that playbook.
They run a pro-style system, an old-school pro-style system.
And it doesn't, and it
goes back to the Indianapolis Colts. What I said, maybe Shane Steichen, who came from Philadelphia, would probably be the good fit for Jackson. And throw that in there. Throw the Colts in there. Mainly, what it is is the owner going to back the head coach, and what kind of system is the head coach going to put up around me? I don't care about location or nothing.
Right. I
say just give me the system. And we'll work with these are all NFL players. The old adage is every team is about that far apart, really, in the NFL. It's not college where you got big gaps between Alabama and Kentucky. Now it's the NFL. The talent's very close,
Remember, and then switching over to coaching and also the way that people keep saying, oh, you're gonna have this quarterback and build him up and all these things and watch him. This is NFL. Nobody's focused on that because you got to play every single week, man. And development is a word that gets thrown around like it's something simple, man. Development is not easy, man. It takes time. It takes money. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I don't feel like everybody's talking about Richardson being drafted. Who in their right mind has a team, right? And the actual management and coaching to develop an athlete, because he's not a quarterback, he's an athlete.
Yeah.
Right? And who wants to be who is a decent quarterback,
he's a crazy good athlete too,
who could become a even better quarterback. What team in NFL can grab this guy in the draft and make him, the next Michael Vick 2.0? No, none. I don't even, none.
Yeah. Richardson, man, I'm telling you, I'm reading a lot of the.
But they all want him.
He's all over the place.
Yeah.
Jason McIntyre from Fox Sports think he can go number 1 to Carolina because of his talent.
Carolina have been through all that mess. The owner's.
Chad says Bill Belichick can play. I actually brought up the Patriots earlier this week. That the Patriots claim that they're out on Lamar. And then Asante Samuel said, you don't want to play for the Patriots anyways. He's still got a grudge against Bill Belichick. I don't know what that's all about.
Because he made him just do his job. Sometimes you don't want to be told what to do and how to do it. Sometimes you just want to go out and do it.
They got that power running game. I do think with Bill O'Brien, I think he'd work there. And he showed some interest. He says, I wouldn't mind doing it. I think he would probably work there. Belichick can flip over he can flip over his offense on a turn of a dime. He did make a mistake last year by putting in 2 defensive guys. But other than that, Belichick usually makes the right call when it comes to what type of personnel he has to develop to that personnel strength, if that makes any sense.
I think what he does is that week in and week out, he puts the people in the right position. And then he tries a push and expound on their potential. But again, that mantra, do your job, and look to the guy next to you and tell them to do their job. That for somebody who has high expectations for themselves and thinking about stats, that's not going to work. Like I got a contract and my contract says that I need to make extra amount of catches, extra amount of yards per catch. Like my yards going to be so. Like I need to make at least 2 more touchdowns than last season. Like, and these are all bonuses. That whole mantra goes out the window, bro.
Yeah.
It's not do your job. It's like, hey, Mac Jones, you better throw me the ball. Like that. I got.
Pickles says they had the worst. They were really bad last year. They're going to rebound, but they do need another receiver there with New England if they're going to go with.
But if I'm Lamar, I don't want to go to New England. They don't
Mac
have
Jones.
I don't want to go there and they don't have an O line, man.
I mean, it's fair. I mean, they ran the ball pretty good last year. He just made a huge mistake putting Patricia in there. That was just Belichick is human. He makes mistakes. He's went for it on fourth down when he shouldn't a couple of times, and he's put those two defensive guys in there and a special teams guy, Joe Judge, your guy, and they put Matt Patricia.
There's a thing, Robert. Though they were trying to keep games under 14 points. So they were trying to control.
Yeah, they beat your Jets 10-3.
Yeah. So that
is old school.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
1986 football right there.
Yeah, they were trying to make sure that they can, grind people out of the, put them to sleep just by watching football.
And that's what it is, Chad. I think they're going to change ownership in Washington probably in May. So that's why they haven't did all those major whatchamacallit yet.
The key factor there is Ron Rivera, right? Is Ron going to be willing to? Is he going to look at Lamar Jackson as Lamar Jackson, or is he going to be like, I already had a quarterback before like this, and I don't want to deal with that. That's if Ron can turn over a new leaf, that team is set up to play better if they had Lamar Jackson, because Tyler Heinicke is an okay athlete. But if you put someone like Lamar who has better speed and a stronger arm, I think they would be a better team.
Right. And Joe Lombardi, I think he's like a former NFL guy or whatever.
He's a former coach,
I think he was a coach, right?
Yeah,
Joe Lombardi?
He coached for the Saints when they went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he was Joe Lombardi, he called out Rivera. He said, man, what are you talking about with Sam Howell, man? We got what we need. He's like, Sam Howell was a 5th-round pick, and you do got Bieniemy there. They could do something with Bieniemy and Lamar. They got a true number 1 receiver. They've got 2 running backs there. They got tight end. They need a tight end, but defense is there. He just don't want that running quarterback for some reason. He wants. I guess he thinks Howell's a lot cheaper too.
Yeah, he played for not Purdue, but who did he play for?
Carolina.
No,
Sam Howell.
Yeah, Carolina. Yeah. Another Carolina quarterback. Y'all need to stop picking these guys from Carolina. Picking a guy from Carolina is like picking a guy from Ohio State. You're just throwing money and hoping something catches it, man.
Well, the one coming out of Carolina next year, he's supposed to be really good.
Here we go. All right. So
I'm just telling you what Drake May is his name, Chief.
So this kid out of Kentucky is going to get a huge contract and show everybody that he maybe is an okay.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, by the way, and there's some mock drafts that think that Will Levis.
Oh, God.
Some people think maybe he could fall out of the first round.
He shouldn't be in the first round, but
Pickle says, that's funny, Pickles. That's funny. We need a techno geek, Pickles. Okay. All right. So where do we go here? Okay. What's your thoughts on this guy? A lot of buzz about this Austin Reeves guy. Is he like a Jeremy Lin, or is he going to be like a James Harden? He's really been hot. The Lakers are in it. I'll have to say they're in it. I don't think they're going to go very far.
How about Austin Reeves is Austin Reeves? People quit trying to tag some of these guys as former players.
Doing a crown their rear end.
Just let them be, man. This is a new type of generational type
they're
of
they're the 9th seed right now.
So, like, Austin Reeves is just a guy who had a good game and probably be able to have 2 or 3 more good games if they give him confidence, like build up his confidence.
He had 25 against Phoenix a couple weeks ago, 35 against Orlando.
Things happen with the Knicks. People, quickly and this, and Mills.
Yeah, and he only had 13 against your Knicks, by the way.
I mean, come on, man. Just let these kids play. Let them become let them flourish and let them become butterflies and fly on their own. Don't tag these kids, crown them, call them baby Jordans. Whatever happened to baby Jordan?
Right.
Harold Miner couldn't take the weight, man. No, but he was a great dunker.
Yeah, here's my take on a guy like Austin Reeves for the Lakers. Remember a guy named Pickles? You remember Austin Crosher?
Oh my gosh!
From the Pacers. Remember how that really good playoff run?
The headband.
Yeah, he had this really great playoff run. Then he gets this big contract the next year.
Lord Jesus!
Totally fell flat. These guys are most of these players, other than James Harden. Remember, because I say Harden because he was a sixth man at one time.
What happened there? After he got that contract, I remember he told the coach, "You can't talk to me. I get paid more." Yo, that dude was cold. And then they were like, Larry Bird was like, we can't have him on the team no more.
I'm starting to get like people like Chris Maddox is from
Robert. Pause. You can't talk to me. I make more money than you.
Chris Maddox from SI.com. He thinks the Lakers are going to the finals because of this guy's play. And I'm like, come on, man. He's in a right spot. He's playing a good role right now. And they do play good at times, but you have to finish games and you have to be healthy, And Anthony Davis can't stay healthy. And LeBron's 38 years old. Hey, how long is he going to stay healthy?
You remember growing up, being on the team? This ain't a track meet. It's a marathon.
All right, Ice Cube. That was on an Ice Cube song.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Your coach would be like, hey, there's no I in team.
Yeah. Yeah. But Austin Crosher, you remember that guy?
Oh yeah,
he had this great playoff run in the early 2000s.
He's the Knicks. They beat the Knicks,
and he didn't do nothing afterwards. So you can't make us a 5 or 6 guy a number 1 or number 2. They don't jump like most of the time. That don't work. You have to keep these players in their role.
Well, there was one guy who did it awesome. And
Jeremy Lin was great for about 3 weeks in February.
He was a Knick too, but he was in a Knick for a whole season, for 2 seasons. What was that guy's name? Jamal Crawford.
Yeah.
Whoa, what a player, man! But
he was a flash in a pan, but he was good off the bench though.
There you go. I was like, don't make it. 1 through 6, 7 through 10. That's your man, right? You know what I'm saying? Saying?
Yeah.
Because he was, once he came off the bench, he played that full third quarter.
Nichols remembers Linsanity. I think during that time I was playing fantasy basketball, my dad, where we would put these teams together, and you had to keep the whole team for a week. It was like a salary cap league. And Linsanity, him and Carmelo. And remember, Carmelo was getting jealous. This guy had 3 weeks. And then he gets this big contract because it was in New York. I think he had 30 points. But then when Dwayne Wade and LeBron and the Heat put the defense on him, he looked like Joe Average. He went. It's like Cinderella turned midnight for Linsanity. But he made his money though.
Yeah, no, he had opportunities on Golden State. He played in Asia. But look, had the Knicks not had
Carmelo Anthony head to head, Pickles.
Had they not had Carmelo Anthony, that team probably would have went further because they would have had 3 or 4 players on that roster instead of just one guy. So,
yeah,
that was the biggest hit.
But that's kind of what I'm thinking about this guy, Reeves. Now, I mean, he's a good story. I mean, he's an undrafted guy out of Iowa.
No. Okay, so some of these guys are not bad players. They just, give them the opportunity and let them play. But even if they play good games, don't mean you got to sign them. Like what Philadelphia did with when they signed, what's his name? I can't remember his name now.
Whatchamacallit?
Well, they already had
Tobias Harris.
Tobias Harris, yeah. Like
Harris has still not lived up to that contract.
I don't know what to say.
But they had a guy off the bench. Robert something. I can't remember his name. I thought he was blossoming into a star, but when they started giving him more minutes, That's my thing with the people like Russell Westbrook. You got to keep Westbrook. Now, Westbrook, they had a big game the other day. They ended up beating. I thought Memphis was flat. I don't know what Memphis was thinking.
You know who else was good playing like that, coming off the bench? Jefferson, who played San Antonio, played for the Nets, who's commentating now.
Robert Horry too. Yeah.
Yeah. You can make Robert Horry a starter. Don't start him.
You mean Richard Jefferson?
Richard Jefferson. Yeah.
With the Nets.
Yeah.
He was great off the bench.
Yeah, man.
Bill Walton thought he was the greatest thing since sliced bread.
No, but he
also loved Detlef Schrempf. I mean, come on, Bill.
No, but he good Arizona player. Good. He came from good cachet. Jefferson was
Richard Jefferson. I could still hear his voice in my head. That was when I lived up there. Yeah,
1 through 5 in his younger
Kittles.
Yeah, 1 through 5 maybe when he was young, but when he was 7 to 10, bro, if you had to play him and when he was in San Antonio and stuff like that, oh man,
Pickles set up back set. Thank you, Pickles. I figured Memphis is going to be okay. Yeah, and plus other news, Andrew Wiggins, guys, supposedly he's going to be back with Golden State. A lot of people starting to jump on that bandwagon. I'm not one of those people. Steph Curry just turned 35, by the way.
He's 35?
Yeah.
He still looks like he's 15.
He still looks 15. He still gets carded, man. He got the hotel bar. But he only orders milkshakes anyways, but
Yo, Robert, you say funny stuff, but that's
I got jokes, man.
Yo,
but they're 6C, man. I mean, I just think Golden State is just. I think they're just a year too late. We'll see. We'll see.
Yo, you make a T-shirt. I'll see you at the milk bar, Steph.
Mickey D. My dad used to say that about certain race car drivers, guys, that the real straight lace, milkshake drinkers, and he would talk about people like Jeff Gordon and stuff. Crazy.
Yeah, Jeff Gordon looked like he was 15 for like 30 years.
That Steph Curry does. He looks really young, man.
Yeah, I'm not trying to bang on him, man.
I love Curry, but I just think that team they're still really bad on the road.
He's our generational player, right? He's one of the best players in our generation.
Yeah.
To say that
I still like the 90s guys.
Isn't he part of the? Well, he's a late 90s. No. He's a 2000 guy.
Yeah, I like the 90s players better than early 2000s.
You know what I like about Curry was that he was the smallest person on the Davidson team that mattered the most.
Yeah.
He was like
David really skinny there.
Yeah, he was David versus Goliath, and they're like, "Whoa, Davidson doesn't have a chance." And then you just see him, going up for layups and shooting.
He was from 30 feet out then.
Yeah. And then he was shooting from all over the place, and they'd be down by 5, but then they're not. That was crazy. It was just crazy to watch that. If you guys ever get an opportunity to watch an NCAA championship game, you gotta watch.
Well, they got to the Sweet 16 that year.
I was watching
it with my dad.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So they got the 9th seed. The Lakers got the 9th seed. Golden State's at that 6 now. They're only one game from the 5, but hey, Durant is back since the last time he's officially back.
He's back. He got, people were cheering for him. He didn't do as great as he wanted to, but he's, I feel like they're playing him still recovering. That's going to take him some time. With Durant, you have to be careful because the Nets did this too. He had one injury, took it a long time to come back, but then he got a different injury, and that injury actually affected him worse. And then he tried to play through that. And there was games that mattered where he didn't matter. Unfortunately, Durant is one of those guys that you give him the ball and he's gonna make things happen, but not if he's injured like that. So his recuperation and to put it.
Yeah, I wouldn't press. I think they'll hold on to that 4 seed. I mean it's a 1 game difference between them and the Clippers. Clippers don't have Paul George, but they're playing decent. They're playing decent right now.
Paul George.
He's a great defender, man.
Yeah, I mean that's.
But they did win last night, and
I think
you still got Kawhi Leonard.
Be okay without Paul George, because it gives a team an opportunity to play with the younger guys that have a lot of speed. Because when George was there, the game wasn't as fast as it is for them right now. And I don't know if you know, but Leonard, he plays better when the ball's moving faster.
Yeah.
Kawhi, I think he plays better.
Well, he can't play too fast. He's got that knee problem. So
what I'm saying is, even when in Toronto, whenever Van Fleet was hurt or somebody was hurt, that was in the 2-guard or they were pushing the ball. If somebody was hurt, then Leonard struggled because slowing down the game takes away his ability to go in and out and crash the board because everything's set up and everything's running through him. So, but when he's running, people don't know whether he's going to crash, whether he's going to go be under the goal, or they don't know what to do, whether he's going to shoot. So he knows that, and that gives him a better opportunity. So when the fast guys are on the court, they're actually Leonard actually plays a better game.
He did. Well, he played great with San Antonio back then, and they played a high tempo. Let's switch it to that hat you got on, brother.
Oh, we're going to talk
MLB. Now, who do you like in the Final Four? I actually think I know that Verlander is already injured, but
and I said that would happen, right? Remember I was like,
yeah, you did say that. Yeah. But I think it's more precautionary. They won yesterday, anyways.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to be in the Final Four with Atlanta, Houston, and Toronto. Toronto, I didn't know. I forgot Toronto won 92 games last year.
So did the Blue Jays. Think about that.
Funny guy.
I mean, so yeah, Keith and I talked about that this morning about maybe by Memorial Day they might have a new manager. Who knows? he's sitting there as a bench coach.
They're young, they're hungry.
Yeah, man.
But I think it's going to be Houston and Mets, and then Mets over Houston. I'm guessing. I'm looking at it from afar, dude. What do you think about the MLB this year? Who's in your Final Four?
So I don't want to sound like a homer, but that I am picking the Mets because I like the fact that they're forced to use their youth players, and the youth players that they do have are complementary and they have better cohesion than half the other teams with their minor leagues. So the most important thing for the Mets is that the young guys that come in to replace Edwin Diaz for his injury, like Peterson and McGill, like they've been playing for the last 3 or 4 seasons on and off. It's time for them to show up or get shipped out. So and it's not that they're I mentioned this earlier today too. It's not that they're bad. It's just that if you can't hang, you got to go, and you can't take up a roster spot where there's somebody in the wing waiting to move up, especially in New York, because there's so much pressure. So consistency means a lot, and those guys are inconsistent, which is a reason why they've been up and down. Just and for a couple of those guys, it's just been the injuries that they've attained, and then they're getting older, they're starting to grow up and trying to get.
Even Verlander, he said he wanted to be precautionary for the long haul.
Yeah, but the Mets have a couple guys that they got Cookie, and they have they have a guy in the minors right now who's coming back from a surgery last year who played for the Padres, Lucchesi.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't get a chance to play last year, but they were thinking about putting him in the playoffs. But he's actually one of those guys too that has older guy that has potential to try to kind of just keep the team going. So I feel like the Mets have, like you said, there's a lot. They're very deep. So I believe that we'll see the Mets play the Padres and the Braves play the Dodgers.
Okay.
And I believe that the Mets will beat the Padres and the Dodgers might beat the Braves. But I think
And you think the Mets will end up getting to the World Series?
Yeah, they'll come down to the NL with either playing the Braves or the Dodgers. And then on the flip, I think the Yankees are still going to do the same thing. They're going to be in the first round and maybe get hit up the side by the Astros. I think they'll have to probably play the Astros the way that's all set up. And then you know, I'm hoping the team like the Twins pick up the slack, right? But
yeah,
I think Toronto might be in the mix as well. So
yeah, they're young and hungry, man.
yeah, so
They keep trending up.
one of the teams I feel bad for, and they haven't done much for themselves with the players that they contracted or they even their losses, the Boston Red Sox. I felt like they had an opportunity to make a few moves, but they just kind of held on their own and stuck to the guns and didn't make the moves they should have made. And now this team is going to suffer for the next 2 or 3 years. I think it's going to be very difficult for them to be.
Oh, I hate to hear that. I've always liked the Red Sox.
Yeah, I know it's and then you know, and it's being here in New York and also a Yankees fan and like trying and seeing that matchup, you know, you're like, all right, it's going to be good.
Fun. It was a fun matchup.
But now I don't know, man. And Boston fans, be careful, man.
So who's coming out of the American League?
Houston. I have Houston, and
I mean, they keep that team together in Houston, man. What can you say? Their bullpen's great.
The thing is that they keep getting younger too, and once they found that missing piece for replacing Carlos Correa. That cat, you know, like that just goes to show that they're doing a good job recruiting and their minor league system keeps putting out players, man. And again, the Astros did lose a couple players as well. So Gurriel went to a different team, and they got, you know, so they've been able to mix match and move up and away from the contracts that they've been heavy on them too. So, you know, they've been pretty smart. Look, they got rid of Garrett Cole, right? They sent him packing to New York. Did that affect them? No, not at all. So, you know, Astros they make moves and you know, and they got rid of Verlander.
Smoked opening day. Well, you got 161 more to go, Pickles.
We'll see. You know, it's going to be a great season.
Yeah.
Don't worry about what our picks are. They'll change tomorrow, man.
What about the shift? Do you think? I think somebody was going to figure out a way to hit 400 in the next 2 years because of this. You cannot shift outside of the dirt or the infield now.
Right. So
I saw a lot of blue flies the other day.
Yeah. So if you're an infielder, you cannot pass the dirt.
Right.
Right. But so what they've been trying to do is some of these outfielders have been doing the two outfielders, you know, patrolling the area. And you know what? I think that the people who are going to suffer the most from the shift are going to be the pitchers because they're going to have to learn how to really pitch, not just pitch for grounders, but pitch, you know, for strikeouts because you can hit if you're a good hitter or a decent hitter, you can get some bloopers in there and you can make some damage. You can turn right, and then they increase the base sizes too, so your double can almost turn into a triple if you're fast enough.
And the steals have picked up in spring training. I read those stats.
Yeah. So
and there were some big steals on opening day too, by the way.
But I was telling Keith this morning on TDI, Are You Serious? The show that we do that the sizes of the bases actually is helps out the players who are older and who are heavier, right? Because you don't have to, you know, you can still shuffle and you could probably make a double. You know, now if you put some effort into it, instead of just being like, I'll just stay here on this base as a single, you know. If you're one of those guys who's in between weight, you know, between I'd say about the 180 to the 220, you know, and you're getting older, you know, you want to think about how you running. And I think these guys who are athletic and older and are in between that weight, they can, you know, they don't have to shuffle. They can make that run. And
do you not think it? Do you think anybody will hit 400? Or you think it's going to be that's a little overstated?
I think, it's going to be good for baseball to see guys try to be at 400.
Yeah,
you know, and try for it. Now, if there's enough guys who change their mentalities and want to, you know, hit the ball instead of just hit home runs. That's when we'll see more 400. But if we see guys just trying to hit home runs, that's not going to change. So I'm going to give it like 2 or 3 seasons until you see hitters just learn to hit the ball for bases instead of just trying to make home runs.
Yeah, Pickle says pinch runners. Corey Seigler, MLB Network, and what I'm reading online, they're saying that this guy could really capitalize the most. He's a player for Texas Rangers.
Yeah, the Rangers. He came from the Dodgers. Had a few.
Yeah, and supposedly it's supposed to help him. Somebody went 5 for 5 on opening day. Some guy for the Orioles, excuse me, but Baltimore.
You know what? It's if you're a slap hitter, if you're one of those guys.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Slap hitter.
Yeah, if
Tony Gwynn, we're the same age. He hit 394 in 1994.
Yeah, and you look
he hit 425 nowadays.
Hey, Robert, don't worry about what he hit. Look how many strikeouts he had.
Yeah.
And it was like one of the lowest in the Major League Baseball.
And he was a big guy.
Yeah, so
he wasn't fast like Ricky Henderson.
Now I'm gonna find the stat for you. I'm gonna send it to you. I can't remember what it is, but I do remember that one of the best years that Tony Gwynn had hitting, which was right before Sheffield, because they had Sheffield in the lineup.
Yeah, Sheffield played on that team, didn't he?
Yeah. Right before he left, the year before he left, Tony Gwynn had like one of the least strikeouts in the Major League Baseballs.
Right. Well, I know I looked the stat up. I had this stat here somewhere. He hit 394, and I think it was in 94. 394 in 1994. Tony Gwynn, San Diego Padres, man.
How many strikeouts did he have?
Let me look at his SOs. They got SB. They do have SO. Hold on, let me see. It's kind of small here, folks. You had to bear with me. You got players like Rod Carew, Ty Cobb in here. Players that's hit 400 or just led the league in average is basically what this is. His strikeouts were so low. It was like 19, man. I mean, that's 162 games. That's pretty good. Well, let's see how many games he played.
Pretty good. Pretty good. This guy was.
Oh wait, let me look at what games he played.
He's very.
He played 110 games that year.
Think about that.
110 games. He had 19 strikeouts. I mean, that is called contact hitter.
And well, here's the thing.
That's a steroid era in '94.
Then they also sometimes they walked doing it. Sometimes they walked him. Yo, he would be in the count. His average count per hitting was 8 to 10 balls. His average. Like they would pitch him 8. It's crazy. He would just
he wasn't doing steroids. He was kind of a chunky guy.
He was like no matter
how much dip.
Yeah, no matter what.
I think he got cancer.
Yeah, he had cancer. Yeah.
But hey, man, I think that'll happen. I think the next 2 years, either this year or next year, we'll be talking. We'll be chasing somebody. Somebody's gonna. I don't know if anybody's going to hit that. Who had that 56 game hitting streak? Pickles, was it DiMaggio?
56.
I mean, it's before our time. Pickles may know, but
Garrett.
I don't know. Somebody may challenge that hitting streak, but I don't know. That's probably a lot. I think the most I've seen was 38 in our lifetime.
Yeah, and I said, like, even Aaron Judge, who has a new contract, I was like, don't if he. 9 pitches. Look at that.
Pickles. Who's got that 56 game hitting streak? I don't know who. I don't know why it's not coming up to me. Yeah, that's the longest. It's 56 games. That's a third of the season.
I think a win for Judge, even with the new contract, as long as he gets to play like most of the season, that's going to be a win.
Oh, it was DiMaggio. Okay, DiMaggio. Yeah. It was DiMaggio. Yeah,
I know it was a Yankee.
Judge. He reminds me of Frank Thomas. That's why I think that if he wanted to hit for average, he might hit 400. Pickle says Pete Rose had 46. I mean, he still got over 3,000. So it's going to be a fun season, man. I'm trying to watch as much as I can. I'm reprogramming myself to watch baseball. I'm trying to go back to my years when we were at Austin Peay when I was keeping up with the Red Sox, hoping they'd beat the Yankees.
Yep.
Those were glory days back down 03, brother.
Plays like Mo Vaughn.
I think we were talking about that on the UC.
Like Mo Vaughn and Nomar Garciaparra.
Oh yeah, well Mo Vaughn, yeah.
Remember
the guy with the long hair? I forgot his name.
Matt Damon.
Yeah, Damon.
You're like, man, you're gonna beat the Yankees. I'm like, yo, you're full of yourself.
Or Big Poppy was my guy though.
Yeah.
So, anyways, man, appreciate you. Anything you need to plug?
No, man, just
Are
wrapping
you
up.
serious? 8 is it still 8 p.m. Eastern time, right?
Yeah, guys. You can catch me every morning at 8 and every night at 8. I'm here with Robert on 8, and then in the mornings I'm at TGI.
8 and 8.
8 and 8. I might put that on the show. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm on with them at TGI Sports, 8 a.m. Eastern, and then 8 p.m. Eastern time. I'm here with Robert. So like, I got a few projects I'm working. I'm trying to get everything out, but it's been a great haul because I've been helping the kids out here in my local area, doing things for them. So, you know, I'm gonna start doing stuff for myself soon here in a minute. So,
all right. Appreciate you coming on as always.
Yeah, man.
78. Pete Rose had 44 game hit. Pete Rose is a great book, by the way. He wrote, man. He's an interesting guy. I know he had his problems, but
he said the problem with Pete Rose is that he always has problems. That's the problem with Pete Rose.
I love to get Pete Rose on here.
Oh,
but he probably wouldn't come.
Oh, he'd probably be on the show, but you have to edit like 90% of it. and it won't even be because he'd be cursing. It'd just be because he'd vocal, you know. He'd just be vocalizing his thoughts.
Yeah. He told I'll tell you this and I get off here. He told what's that guy's name? Reggie Jackson. He said, man, I'm getting shorter. And he told Reggie Jackson, he said, you keep getting shorter, I'm gonna put you on the ponies, man. Because Jackson stood up to Aaron. Judge is huge, man.
Yeah, man.
He's short to Aaron Judge. So, anyways, I thought that was hilarious. You know, the people that follow Pete knows he's a big gambling guy. He loves horse racing. Those guys are pretty small. You know,
I got a horse track race. I got a racetrack horse, like a racetrack for horses and all. Like down the street, right next to the new stadium they built, the new arena they built.
Oh, really? Like an Aqueduct or something?
Yeah, the Aqueduct. I'm about Belmont. I'm about Belmont here in Queens, man. You need to come up here and visit, bro.
Yeah, I might check it out. You know, I did security at Belmont.
Yeah?
In 02. Smarty Jones, man, came close.
Yo, I remember Smarty Jones. Yo, listen,
I was doing security there.
Come up here and visit. And I got some tickets for you, man. You want to come?
Yeah, hey, I'd love to go to Belmont. Love Bell. I've been there. It's huge. Belmont in Elkmont. You didn't know I knew that, did you? Elkmont, New York. Hey, man, thanks again. Thank you.
I stay on this side of BQE just to be cool. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, buddy, have a good one, man. See you, man.